Hello, everyone, and welcome to the third and last part of this three-part exam prep series on Microsoft Dynamics 365 Sales, MB-210. I'm Monica from TechnoFocus, and I'll be serving as your moderator today. We are glad to have Russell Nankervis with us, who will be presenting this session. He is a Microsoft Certified Professional and a Microsoft Certified Trainer. Now I'd like to turn today's event over to our presenter. Russell, you have the floor.
Hi, welcome to Microsoft Dynamics 365 exam prep session for MB-210, which is Microsoft Dynamics 365 Sales. Okay, so now I'd like to start with the Module 4, which is Integrate Components with Dynamics 365 for Sales. Now, one of the components that we're going to be talking about is the Sales Insight features. So, from a Dynamics 365 Sales Insight feature category. Now, some of the standard features we've got here. So this is where we can have assistance, some auto capture. We've got our email engagement. Now, some of the premier features that we've got. So this is your Premier Assistant, your Premier Auto Capture, Notes Analytics, Relationships Analytics, Who Knows Whom, Predictive Lead Scoring, Predictive Opportunity Scoring, Premier Forecasting, Talking Points. We've got our Sales Accelerator, Assistant Apps for Teams, and Conversation Intelligence. Now, from a product, so the product can be created from the App Settings area of the Sales Hub. Just select Families and Products. So again, this is the way we're sort of going to be going through. So we're going to want to be making sure we're looking at our area, so we can go to our App Selector area and we can actually move forward from there. Okay, so now I'm going to deep dive into my Premium Sales Insight features. So this is where I've got my guided selling. So this is my assistant. So this is going to start to highlight up cards and help me and guide me for what I need to be able to do next. I'm going to have my productivity intelligence. So this is where I can have my sales accelerator and sequence preview. Now, the good thing about the sales accelerator in the sequence preview is that we can start to see what's coming up. We can literally start to say, cool, we need to do this in a certain process. And it'll start to highlight that up for us and present it forward. We've got our notes analysts. So this will go through and analyze all of the notes that we've taken, i.e., if we put in a note about a meeting, we've got to book a follow-up meeting, it understands and tries to suggest times and sort of places, or if it's going to be a Teams meeting, or if it's going to be a traditional in-person meeting with the actual customers themselves. Now, then we're going to start to go into our connection insights point, so part of the premium sales. So we're going to have conversation intelligence. So it's going to start to understand how that we're talking with our customers. In this, we've also got our relationship analytics and health, talking points, and who knows whom. So from a conversation and intelligence point of view, as I said before, it's going to start to say, good, we actually understand how you're talking to those people. We're going to see how we're going to talk to the customer, when's the best time to send information through, then they actually respond to it. From that, we can actually then work out how our relationship is actually going with that customer, whether they're liking what we're saying, whether they're liking our products, how often and how quickly they respond to information. Now, we might, argument's sake, as an example, send them, we could have a very good relationship health with them, and when we send them an email, they might actually respond to our email quite quickly. And we can then respond to that email quite quickly. And from that point of view, it sort of extrapolates that out and just works out what's the actual health associated to that customer and how we're actually interacting with them. So what's our health to them? Now, from a talking points point of view, this is where we can start to troll through our emails, troll through the actual notes that we've taken in relation to this actual customer. and it's going to start sort of highlighting up. So argument's sake, we could be some family birthdays could be highlighted, or they might follow a local sporting team, and then there's some information about the local sporting team, and that could actually pop up in the actual sort of area that we've got our sales inside. Now, who knows whom? So this is where we're going to go through and actually look at our organization and look at our potential customer or our contact. We might know that one of our other, so it's going to suggest up that one of our staff members might be a member of the same club, or they might have had interactions with them before. So they could be included in as like a CC of an email, or attended a meeting with that person about a different item or a different sort of product. Now, from that point of view, that will allow us to do a warm introduction. So we could actually reach out to that person that knows that person and ask them to literally give us that warm introduction. So that way they've got some personal sort of connection to that process. Again, from that point of view, because it's not just a cold call, we increase the likelihood of us converting our sales. Also, this is actually backed up by our predictive scoring. Now, we're now in predictive scoring. We've got predictive lead scoring, opportunity scoring, and also forecasting. Now, if I'm going to look at my predictive lead scoring, so what this does, this looks over our historical lead process. We go through and it looks at all the interaction we've had with those leads. So when we've won them, when we've qualified them, disqualified them, and so forth. How often were we sending them emails? How much were they responding to us? Were we putting in phone call tasks and so on and so forth and so forth? It will then break these actual leads down into a series of categories. And we can go through and train this model. So we can go through and say a score of a certain component, so maybe 100 to 90, might be a category A lead. Same process for category B. So we will set some actual components down. And what it'll be based on how many times we've emailed, how many times they've emailed us back, and so forth. So it looks at those interactions and looks at saying how can we actually score this lead? And obviously when we score this lead, we actually want our salespeople working on the category A leads, because they have the highest possibility and highest chance of actually converting to an opportunity. Now, from an opportunity point of view, we go through a similar sort of process. Well, the system looks at all our interactions with the opportunities and starts to give it a certain score and see how often we've actually reached out to them. How often have we received information back? What was how was their emails? Were they nice emails? Were they kind emails? Or were they angry emails? And or were they chasing up information? From that opportunity will then be scored. And again, we've got our categories. So obviously we want our salespeople working on the top opportunities, because we want to make sure that if they're the more likely ones to actually be qualified and won, so we want basically to move the business forward, because this is what this is about. So again, we can actually look at that and say, well, I've got two opportunities here. One's a category A, one's a category C. Now, my category A is highly likely to convert. So I'm going to make sure that I invest as much time into that category there, because it's highly likely to convert. It's a shorter cycle, which means that I can go through that sales process. I can go through it and say, this is done, now I can move forward. I can then concentrate on my other ones. Because again, it's about a process of getting that opportunity to be won. Similar with the premium forecasting. So we can look at what forecasting has been done, and we can look at our predictive lead scorings and our opportunity scorings that can actually help feed into this process as well, and say, because of that, we can actually now understand and have a greater understanding of our forecasting. So we can sort of almost redefine slash slightly define our premium forecasting in a much better way. Okay, so now let's look at an introduction to the embedded intelligence that we've got about with the whole insights area. So some features, we've got our relationship insight, we've got our auto capture, we've got our email engagement, and we've also got some advanced features. So again, we've got nodes analytics, relationship analytics, who knows whom, predictive lead and opportunity scoring, talking points, and assistant app for teams. So Sales Insight is an app which continuously analyzes the vast collection of customer interactions data already stored in your Dynamics 365 and Microsoft Exchange databases to help better understand your business relationships, evaluate your activities in relation to previous successes, and choose the best path forward. Now, Sales Insights also includes the following features, as I spoke about before, which all work together to amplify their individual strengths. As I said, relationship insights. Now, this is about how we're going to work with that customer. Our email engagement. Are we emailing the customer? Are we keeping on track of this sort of process? And also think about auto capture. So if we have forgotten for any reason to track, or if say another staff member is then emailing that customer through, you want to make sure you capture the whole picture of what is actually happening with that customer. Okay, so now let's have a look at the relationship assistant cards. So this uses cards to track important sales tasks. Now, it contains the following elements. So think about your generic actions. The actions area, and the main content areas. Now, this is the assistant, so it's previously known as the relationship assistant. It keeps an eye on your daily activities and communicates and generates a collection of action cards that are displayed prominently throughout the application to provide you tailored and actionable insights. The assistant reminds you that up-and-coming activities. It evaluates your communications and suggests when it might be time to reach out to a contact that has been inactive for a while. It identifies an email message that may be waiting for a reply from you. It alerts you to when an opportunity is nearing its close date, and much, much more. Now, as an administrator, you must enable auto capture before you can use it. The relationship assistant is designed to deliver the most important and relevant information in relation to what you are doing right now. The assistant works by analyzing all the data at its disposal and generating a collection of action cards, each of which includes a message summarizing what the card is about, plus a set of links for taking action. The assistant sorts the card by priority and filters them for your current context. So when you start the day by signing into Dynamics 365 for sales, and the assistant draws your attention to your most important items and tasks drawn from all areas of the application. Now, when I'm looking at this image, as you can see here on the screen, that there is an opportunity closing soon. So that's at the top of the list. Then it's followed by a phone call that needs to be made today. So phone call, and that's been scheduled at sort of by 8 p.m. And then lastly, we look into our basically our reminders. So we can see here that we've got to basically go through and have a reminder to talk about Dynamics 365 AI for sales with a colleague. So again, it's reminding us to do something. It's our tasks to help us move forward. Okay, so moving forward with our auto capture. Now, as you can see here, captures messages relevant to Dynamics 365 sales and surfaces them in the activities column for the appropriate record. Now, you can view on the following tables. So my contact, opportunity, lead, account, case, and custom tables. Now, what does auto capture do? So Auto Capture enables Dynamics 365 for Sales to access your email in Microsoft Exchange to find and display messages that are related to your work in Dynamics 365 for Sales. It makes it easy to see relevant email messages together with all the other activities that are related to a given record in Dynamics 365. So each message remains private and visible only to you unless you choose to convert it to a tracked email, which you can do with just one click to make that email visible to the rest of your team in Dynamics 365 Sales. Auto Capture uses Relationship Assistance to deliver alerts and other messages, so we strongly recommend that you also enable the assistant if you're using email engagement. Now, as you see here on the screen, I've got two emails that need tracking. I've got my first one, which is from Mark Smith, so it's not tracked, only you can see this email. Now, if I want to make this a tracked email, I go through and see where the red box is. I go through and track. What'll happen is that I'll go through and then we'll get Dynamics 365 and Exchange talking together and say, yes, we want to make sure that this item here is tracked. Same for the John Smith one. So again, we'd follow the same procedure. We'd go to the record, we'd hit track, and then we'd be able to have that communication with the Exchange and saying, yes, we are aware of it. Yes, we'd like to be highlighting this up inside of Dynamics 365. Now, from an email tracking point of view, so this is our email engagement. So the functions that we're going to see here. So see when recipients open your message or click the link. Receive an alert the first time the message is open. Schedule most effective delivery time. Choose most effective message template. And we can set an alert to follow up our previous message. We can review full interaction history, I should say, of a single message. Now, why is this important? Because of this, so if I'm just going to go back through this. So email engagement lets you see when recipients open your message, click a link, and open an attachment or send a reply. Now, traditionally, this type of functionality was only available in bulk email marketing systems, but now it's available to every single salesperson. Again, we can receive an alert right away the first time a recipient opens your message. We can schedule the most effective delivery time and receive advice from the best times based on the recipient's time zone, rather than your email arriving to your customer where it may get buried in other email deliveries. It can be done at a time when it's most likely to get noticed. We can choose the most effective message template, which recommends based on your organization's previous email interaction history. The AI will make the best suggested based on what has happened in the past. We can go through and set an alert to remind you when it's time to follow up on an email message, so you never miss those follow-up components. Because again, it's all about interacting with that customer. You want to review the full interaction history of a single message, or you can review its KPIs. Now, email engagement uses the relationship assistant to deliver alerts and other messages, so we strongly recommend that you also enable the assistant if you're using the email engagement. So what you can see here is the recipient's activities will be followed, and that there is an option to send the email at a specific time. Also, a reminder has been set up to follow up the email in a couple of days. So as you see here, so this is what's been highlighted on the screen. We've got the recipient activities will be followed, and we'll remind you if Jim doesn't reply by that time, and you can see what's actually happening. So you can say there's been 5 opens, 1 reply. But what happens if he doesn't respond to the last reply? And again, this is some of the information that we need to have that understanding of. Now, when I'm looking at enabling sales insights, This is where I'm going to get my assistant, my email engagement, and auto capture of it is going to be available by default. I just need to go through and enable by accepting the privacy terms. Now, some advanced features must be turned on via the Sales Insight settings area. Now, let's look at an introduction to some social selling. So again, why do we need to think about this? So this is going to be the process that we're going to say, how can we interact? How can we sort of engage with our customers to making sure that we complete that sale? So we've got our relationship analytics, our notes analytics, our predictive lead scoring, and our connected insights. I've got our predicted opportunity scoring and our talking points. Now, I've covered these items previously in the this module, so I'm going to go through and see where I can sort of extend out some of the discussion about this. So I'm going to look at my open opportunities by relationship. Now, as you can see here, on the screen, I've got some opportunities. I've got my estimated revenue. I've got my relationship health score, so my KPI, and you can sell by the traffic light system. You can say, okay, what's happening here? I've got some poor, I've got one good, I've got a couple of poor and fair. Now, what can happen is that I've got saying, what's my trend happening? So I've got my improving and declining. So this one's here is improving, it's declining. So it has an understanding of what's actually happening. Now, I've also got time spent by the team. So that could be helping the customer, and time spent with the team engaging with the customer. Now, as you can see here, that basically is going to determine what's happening with the client. So again, we want to make sure that we have all the good things, whether it's steady or improving. Now, looking at the Sales Navigator. So this provides widgets that can be placed on the sales-related forms. So offer insights to help sales teams make better connections. So we've got a top card. We can use the news / icebreakers. We've got connections, so get introduced, and recommended leads. So again, this is the way that we can start to integrate with LinkedIn Sales Navigator. So this is the advantages, because more information we can push forward, the better we actually have on being able to complete the sale. Now, looking at my sales insight and my relationship analytics, because this all comes together. So relationship analytics provides an activity history, key performance indicators, health score, and health trend for contact, opportunities, lead, and account records. The most important KPI, including your team's previous and next activities, are shown in the list view for each of these record types, so you can get an overview and sort through the list by them. So, now thinking about your relationship analytics, how does it help sales professionals and managers? So it helps by managing and answering these questions for us. Do we have a good relationship with the customer? So we might have an understanding. We might have a very good phone relationship, but on a personal level, the relationship could be good, but it's from a business-to-business point of view. Think about how they are as a customer. Have they bought your goods? Have they bought your services? How much time have we spent with our customer? So again, are we having lots of meetings with them? Are we having lots of actual email backwards and forwards? Are we actually having the chance to be able to convert that across? Now, when was the last time we contacted them? Because it's a lot easier to contact someone that you've just recently contacted, because again, it's a process where you can feel comfortable about that. When is the next time we will contact them? So this is how we start to answer some of these questions. So these settings can be set up based on historical interactions with that customer. How many emails and meetings have we exchanged? Think about the customer response rate. So again, we could be doing the right thing. We could be sending out lots of different actual communication to the customer. So we could be sending lots of emails, lots of actual meetings, and half of them could be not being read, half of them could be cancelled, the meeting's cancelled, and things like that. So that's where the customer response rate really comes in handy, because that'll help score our actual interactions with them. Now, how many activities were initiated by the customer? So is it customer driven, or are we driving this process? How long does it take our team to respond? Because that's a very important process. So if we keep on getting lots of information from the customer and it takes us a longer time to respond, then unfortunately what's going to happen is the relationship with that customer is going to slightly decline. And the more and more we don't keep engaging with our customer from a time, more and more it will decline. And which opportunities should I spend my time on? So it's highlighting up. Obviously, looking at my list just here. Now, if I was looking at this list, you can see that by our relationship health score, we should be concentrating on the good one because it's steady. And that's where as a salesperson, I should be investing my team, my time. Now, if I want to look at implementing sales insight, so thinking about my predictive lead scoring. Now, I've got some base information. So it displays the basic information of a lead, such as a lead score, lead grade, lead score trend, to help you avoid going back to the My Open Lead Score view to see basic information. I've got my top reasons, and it's going to display the list of reasons that are affecting the lead score. I've got my feedback, so it displays the feedback that's provided by a user to a lead. Now, when I'm looking at this, so this model assigns a score between 0 and 100 for leads based on the signals from leads and related entities such as contacts and accounts. Now, using these scores, you can identify and prioritize leads that have more chance of converting into opportunities. Now, for example, say you have two leads in your pipeline, lead A and lead B. The lead scoring model applies to a score of 80 for lead A and 50 for lead B. By looking at the score, you can predict that lead A has more of a chance of converting into an opportunity than you can engage it. Also, you can further analyze why the score for lead B is low by looking at the top reasons influencing the score and deciding whether to improve their score. So in Forms, you can use the lead score widget to see the top 10 reasons that are influencing the score. These reasons come from lead attributes and attributes from the related entities. And this helps you analyze and work on the lead to improve the score and convert it to a possible opportunity. Now, think about your notes analytics point of view. So, we're going to want to go through, and Notes Analytics feature in Sales Insights is an excellent way to use intelligent auto-suggestions. Suggestions appear when a user enters notes about a recent meeting or a discussion with a customer in Dynamics 365 for Sales. Notes Analytics will provide suggestions for creating records based on the data that is entered into your note. So again, think about how this is actually going to go through. So this is for basically suggestions. So if I'm in a meeting and I enter a note where it says that I'm going to follow up with this customer. So from that point of view, I'm putting that in my own note, and it'll pop that suggestion to me. When do you want to follow up with this customer? How soon do you want to get to keep that moving forward? Now, thinking about my implementation of Sales Insight from a Notes Analytics point of view. Now, timeline control is available on contacts, opportunities, leads, accounts, and also case forms. So when you save a note, the text in that note is highlighted, and when selected, suggestions are displayed. These suggestions include creating activities, create tasks, contacts, meeting content requests, and issue detections. So when you have multiple suggestions associated with a note, Dynamics 365 displays these multiple suggestions. You can take timely actions depending on your requirements. Now, some of the other things that integrates, so Sales Insight integrates with other applications. I've got email, so we can ensure that an Exchange email server is configured and that the mailbox for each user has been enabled. You've got LinkedIn. You can, if you want to use LinkedIn data for relationship assistance, unless you verify that the LinkedIn solution is installed in Dynamics 365 Sales. Use SharePoint and OneDrive for business. Now, to take advantage of the shared attachments option with email engagements, you need to enable SharePoint and OneDrive for business integration in your organization. Now, the process you want to go through is making sure that we set up and enable and configure standard Sales Insight features. So we want to review the requirements and prerequisites. We want to enable standard Sales Insight features, configure standard features as required. Now, we've got to make sure that we've got an administrator. We'll review the requirements and prerequisites. Then we accept the terms and service to enable auto capture and email engagement. Then we configure the assistant, the auto capture, and our email engagement. Now, install and configure premium Sales Insight features. So don't forget to review GDPR, because that's really important, because that way you're not going to breach any sort of components. Review the prerequisites, install Sales Premium Insights, and configure Premium Sales Insight features. So again, looking at this process, we want to be as an administrator. We want to review General Data Protection Regulations, so GDPR. We're going to review the requirements and prerequisites. We start the trial and accept privacy statements to install Premium Sales Insight features. And then we can go through and configure the following. So we can configure the Assistant Premium. We can actually go through and auto capture the preview. We've got our notes analyzed. We've got relationship analytics, our talking points, our who knows whom. We'll get our predictive lead scoring and our predictive opportunity scoring. We've got premium forecasting. We've got Sales Accelerator, which is a preview, and we've got our assistant app for Microsoft Teams and our conversation intelligence. So this is how it's going to start to understand all the things that we're doing in integrating with our actual Dynamics 365 sales data. Now, from a Sales Insight application, the Sales Insight application provides you with information and insights to intelligently manage the sales team, proactively coach sellers, quickly answer questions regarding the business. Now, to achieve this objective, the Dynamics 365 Sales Insight provides the application provides you information through key performance indicators for pipeline, deal intelligence, into call data, KPIs through conversation intelligence. Now, from your Sales Insight, so how does it provide you information and how does it manage your sales team? How do we do that component? So we go through and they're specifically designed to help sales managers and sellers intentionally manage and quickly answer the most important business questions. So it starts to surface that information up for us. So again, how do we do this process? So we go through and have an understanding of that. Now, think about configuring your predictive model. The predictive lead and opportunity scoring capabilities of Dynamics 365 Sales Insights uses machine learning modules to calculate a score for all open leads and opportunities. The score helps sales people prioritize and achieve higher win rates. Now, when an organization configures predictive scoring features, the application uses the out-of-the-box fields that are related to a lead and opportunity to generate a model with a score. So, the predictive lead and opportunity scoring capabilities of Dynamics 365 Sales Insight definitely uses the machine learning. So we go through and it's backed up, so from that point of view. So again, don't forget it uses the out-of-the-box processes that we've just spoken about. Now, when I want to actually look at configuring predictive lead scoring, on a high level, you want to say when you have enough qualified and disqualified leads, you verify prediction accuracy score, and you train the model for a better predictive accuracy score. Now, you can adjust the minimum score range for each grade based on this sort of process if you choose to. And you can see your lead score here. You can say what's happening with this, the finance industry is a strong industry, where are they in, and that sort of process. Now, when I'm going through and configuring the predictive lead scoring, so before using predictive lead scoring models, you need to ensure that advanced sales insight features have been enabled in your environment by adding sales insight licensing. After the advanced features have been enabled, you can create scoring models by going to the Sales Insight Settings area of the Sales Hub application. When you have enough qualified and disqualified leads, the application will allow you to create a scoring model. The initial creation of the model can take a while. Progress will be displayed on the screen during the configuration process. You can still use the application while the configuration is taking place. After the creation of the model is complete, you should verify that the prediction accuracy score matches your organizational requirements. If you are not satisfied with the prediction score accuracy score, you can discard the current model and retrain it to create an updated model. We recommend that you train the model after the data has been refreshed in your organization for better predictive accuracy scoring. When the model is created, it will define a score range for each grade. A lead scoring model has the following grades. Grade A, which is green, which is the highest likelihood for conversion into an opportunity. Grade B, this is going to be purple, so we've got grade C, which is yellow, and grade D, which is red. Now, this is the lowest likelihood for conversion into an opportunity. Each grade has a minimum and maximum score. Because each organization might grade their lead differently, you can modify scoring values that are associated with each grade. In the range you want to modify, enter a minimum value of the range in the lead score. When you change the lead score range for a grade, the preceding grade's maximum range value changes automatically, depending on the changed minimum grade value. For example, when you change the minimum range value for grade A to 51, the maximum lead score range for grade B is changed to 50. When you feel comfortable with the results of your model, you can save and apply the model. The predictive lead scoring is now configured and ready to use. Now, a lead score will refresh every 24 hours as information in the lead is modified. If you ever recreate a model, it will take 24 hours to apply the new model. Okay, now let's go for a little bit deeper dive. So we're talking about predictive lead and opportunity scoring. So it provides scoring model to generate scores from records that are available in your pipeline. It uses machine learning to be able to assign a score between 0 and 100. And by using these scores, you can identify and prioritize leads that have more chances of converting into opportunities. So just to go over it again, the predictive lead and opportunity scoring capabilities of Dynamics 365 Sales Insights uses machine learning models to calculate a score of all open leads and opportunities. These scores help salespeople prioritize and achieve higher win rates. When an organization configures the predictive scoring features, the application uses the out-of-the-box fields that are related to the lead and opportunity to generate a model with a score. Okay, so now I'm just going to get through to the tips and tricks component of this presentation. So this is where I'm going to expand out on some core sort of statements around Dynamics 365, and in particular the sales section. So this is going to be about first of all, configuring Dynamics 365 for sales. So what do we use Dynamics 365 Sales for? So it's used to boost sales productivity by freeing up more time for selling and spending less time to trying to identify potential sales opportunities. Now, what does this mean? This means basically your sales team. It allows them to be as efficient as possible because a salesperson's main role is to be out and about and selling. So you've got to make sure that the system, in Dynamics 365 Sales, has made sure that they've looked at the sales process. They've looked at how to actually, what do they need to capture? Things like phone calls, emails. They've got to jot down notes. Now, a component of that, so the next sort of quote I've got here is order. So an order is a confirmed request for delivery of goods or services. Orders are typically created after a quote or opportunity has been closed. So again, let's think about this. So the process is we go through, we do our lead, we do our opportunity, we then send out our actual quotes. It gets confirmed. So that's where we are in the process. We need to make sure that basically, if we preload the information into the system, we can actually get all that good information to our order at our order stage. Okay, so again, just moving forward. Now I'm going to be talking about our contracts, our cases, articles, quotes, our orders, our invoices, marketing campaigns, our categories, and knowledge articles. Now, these are automatically numbered. Now, to configure the auto number settings, make sure you select your right environment. Then go to Settings, look at our data management and our order numbering process. It will also allow us to have a prefix, and we can adjust that prefix as well. So again, moving forward, looking at our sales literature. Now, this is through the Sales Hub. So again, Dynamics 365 is broken up into actually multiple applications or multiple modules, I should say, and we're concentrating on the sales process at this point in time. So sales literature in Dynamics 365 Sales, it stores sales literature information, such as think about your brochures or say a spec sheet about your products or a detailed specification of products. Now, sales literature is like a central repository for your organization's sales information and lets you share information with other users. Now, some of the ways we can do this is we can actually attach it to a quote. We can attach it to an email. We can send this off directly to our customers. Again, it's sales literature. It's going to help us complete the sales process. Now, let's move on to Power BI. So Power BI is a self-service platform allowing users to interact with pre-made reports and create their own visualizations. Now, a key advantage of Power BI is its ability to include many data sources. Now, what does that mean? So let's break that down. Obviously, we're getting our information out of Dynamics 365 for Sales. This is where our lead information is coming from. We might have an external system. We might have an external marketing system. So we could be using a non-Microsoft marketing process, something along MailChimp. So we've sent out an email to the actual our customers. We want to see the bounce rate, or we want to see the return rate on that. And we can do that visualization inside of Power BI. Now, what is a visualization? So it is a visual representation of data. So think about a chart or a color-coded map or other interesting things you can represent your data visually. So I think about heat maps. So again, or you could say, well, where is my customers? So when you send out that email blast I spoke about just before, you can then turn around and say, where are they actually getting picked up from? And how is that moving forward? Now, some of the things about Power BI. So the Power BI services lets you view and interact with reports and dashboards, but it doesn't let you shape data. Visualizations, data sets, Reports, dashboards, tiles are building blocks for Power BI. So this is how you can make up your reports, make up your dashboards, and present the correct information on the screen. Now we're just going to take a look at competitors here. So competitors, this grid identifies any other vendors that your organization might be competing with for the leads business. Now, again, think about that. Part of the sales process that you're engaging with the lead, you might become aware of the competitors. If you record that information, you can then start to develop a map or an understanding of how the competitors actually tackle their actual leads. And that way, that'll give you a chance to be able to compete against that. So, now we're going to go into goals. So a goal matrix is the numeric measurement that is based on a value in a specific record type. Goal matrices are defined at the organization level, and they're not specific to any user. So think about this. This is where you're going to want to, as an organization, think about your salespeople. What's my sales team doing? What are my sales positions doing? Are they hitting the right goals? Are we getting enough leads into the system? And so forth. Now, there are two types of metrics that can be defined based on your individual needs. Now, you can look at the amount. So the amount is used when you want to create a matrix that will be used with a dollar value amount. So again, I want to be able to make X amount of sales, or I might want to be able to make X amount of revenue. And then we've got count. So count is used when you want to simply identify the total number of records that meet a specific criteria. It could be, I'm going to bring in 50 extra leads in the next financial quarter, or I'm going to have another count of some description. So it's that numerical or the total number process. Now, we're going to be looking at managing customers, leads, and opportunities. So some of the lead-related views in Dynamics 365 include things like open leads. So this is all leads that are currently open, regardless of who the lead is. So who's the owner of that lead? We've got closed leads. So all leads that have been closed, both qualified and disqualified. So leads are included. Now, what's a qualified lead is someone that wants to move forward. Someone wants to do business with us. In a disqualified lead, it could be for some reason they're not able to engage at this point in time, i.e. not enough budget, or it might not pass approval at this point in time. Now the all leads view, so this is a view of all open and closed leads. Then I'm going to move on to the timeline. So this panel shows related lead activity. All activities appear in chronological order. Activities might include things like phone calls that were made to or received from a lead, appointments with that lead, internal posts that a colleague has made about the record, or notes you've added about the record, i.e. you've attended a meeting. So now you want to sort of have a place where you're going to keep those notes about that meeting. So again, now we're thinking about our business process flow. So this is used to guide sellers through each stage of an organization's sales lifecycle. Now this process, so they ensure that the steps are not getting missed, but they do not provide notifications. In the business process flow, you can actually make sort of stage gates. So by making a field required. So even though it doesn't notify you, it's at least there's a way that you can sort of make sure certain information is required, so it's captured at that point in time. Now, an opportunity. So it's like a lead. An opportunity is a potential sales transaction. When a lead is qualified, an opportunity record is automatically created. So on that lead qualification process, the two other things that happen at that point in time is if we've got our contact information, so who we're dealing with. If we do have company information, an account is also created at the same time automatically. Now, moving on, thinking about our process sales orders. So we're going down the sales process now. So quotes. So we provide customers with the terms of sale. So it is important to capture price, product, and service information in the quotes. So this is what we're wanting to sell to the customer. So we've got to give the full picture of what we're doing. Now, when a customer confirms requests for product or services, a sales rep can then create an order. So organizations receive and process orders that eventually convert into invoices and revenue at time of shipment. So again, think about this process. Think about how we've gone down. We've gone from the leads to our opportunities, opportunities to our quotes to our orders. And as I said here, we can get then lead to invoices, and once that's actually paid, that's revenue for the organization. Now, to process sales orders. So different currencies can be created for your organization and used on a transaction by transaction base. Now, to add a new currency, we go to settings, we go to business management, and then we go to currencies. Now, when you define a currency, you must specify values in the following fields, like the currency position. So this specifies how many decimal places should be supported. So depending on the currency, it could be 2, could be 4, could be 6, or it could be any other number. Then you've got your exchange rate. Now this defines the currency exchange rate. You just be mindful that this field doesn't automatically update from an external source. So again, thinking about this, thinking about making sure you're keeping your system updated. Okay, so we could do a custom currency. You can add custom currencies to represent any other currency that might not be in the Dynamics 365 environment. Take as an example, Bitcoins. 3 components help support the Dynamics 365 multi-currency solution. So we've got our base currency. So the base currency is the currency that other currencies are quoted in. Our transaction currency. So the transaction currency is the currency that is used for a specific transaction. So again, it can be the base, it can be the actual the custom currency. And then we've got our exchange rate. So an exchange rate represents the number of units of a transaction currency that equals 1 unit of the base currency. i.e., it could be, say, 1 Australian dollar to, say, maybe 75 US cents. So that could be the exchange rate that we're dealing with at this point in time. Now, we're keeping the dive down into the process sales order. So a unit group provides the unit of measure for counting products and associating pricing. So this is what we sort of break it down to. The easiest way I remember a unit group is it's what's the minimum or what's the base unit that it can be sold in, i.e. a can of soft drink or something along those lines. A forecast helps your organization predict how much revenue your sales team will generate in a given time frame. As an administrator or a forecast manager, you can configure forecasts in your organization that are based on revenue or quantity. You can then define the types of forecasts, i.e. is it hierarchical, permissions for accessing it, and the details you want to appear on the forecast grid. Now, our product catalog. So this is a collection of records that interacts with opportunities, quotes, orders, and invoices to facilitate management of products, price lists, discounts, and product families for sales transactions. Now, looking back at our sales processes again. Like a lead, an opportunity is a potential sales transaction. Typically speaking, an opportunity is more viable prospect than a lead, and it will contain more information and be tracked for a longer period of time. So again, this is where we're really sort of having those deep discussions with our customer. Now, thinking about our lead. So when a lead is qualified or disqualified, the record is inactivated. An inactivated record are locked and can no longer be edited. To make a record editable again, you must reactivate the lead. So it's been placed in like a read-only fashion. Playbooks. Now, sales playbooks in Dynamics 365 allow organizations to maintain a searchable library of playbooks. Playbooks define the activities that are launched when triggered, i.e. you can track status process against a playbook outcome. We could generate automatically a lot of activities. Think about tasks or emails that need to be sent out at specific intervals. Now, with sales playbooks in Microsoft Dynamics 365, organizations can define a set of tasks and activities to automate when a playbook is triggered. Now, it maintains a searchable library that can easily be launched in certain scenarios and track the status and progress of running playbooks against their outcome to determine whether they've been successful. Now, to support playbooks, we've got two new security roles that have been added to Dynamics 365. We've got a playbook manager, so this person can create playbook templates to launch against different record types in Dynamics 365. Or we've got the playbook user, which can launch created playbook templates against records. Now, thinking about integration components with Dynamics 365. Our embedded intelligence is a suite of features that continuously analyze the vast collection of data about the customer interactions and help you better understand your business relationships. Evaluate your activities in relation to previous successes and choose the best path forward. Now, from an embedded intelligence, this includes the following features. So we've got our relationship insight, we've got our email engagement, and we've got our auto capture. So just to speak about this in a bit of a deeper process, our auto capture, so this feature follows the message to and from the relevant email addresses and shows sales staff these messages right inside of Dynamics 365. Sales staff can choose then to track any of the suggested messages. We've got our email engagement. Now, this feature helps you create more effective email messages and learn how your contacts are interacting with them. As emails are sent to, opened by, and forwarded by customers, email engagement tracks those activities and reports back that information. It can also remind sales staff about different actions that they should take if a customer does and doesn't view the emails that are sent to them. As a relationship assistant, this panel provides reminders or notifications about items that are related to the lead. It also evaluates your communications and suggests when it's the time to reach out to that contact. So who you also haven't interacted with a while. It also lets you know what time. So not just say maybe what day or what part of the week, but actually down to what part of the day as well. Our action cards are the primary mechanism the relationship assistant uses to interact with users. They provide up-to-date information about emails, meetings, and more. Now, relationship analytics. So this gathers relevant information throughout the Dynamics 365 database to create a graphical display of key performance indicators, say KPIs, and activity histories associated. We've also got our predictive lead scoring. Now, this helps you focus on revenue generation efforts by providing the scores to prioritize efforts on the quality leads. You have your notes analytics. Now, this monitors notes that you enter regarding a recent meeting or discussions with your customers to provide intelligent suggestions, i.e. think about, I need to call this person back or I need to follow up. Do I want to create this task now? Looking at our who knows whom. Now, this provides details such as names and email addresses of your colleagues who know the lead you've been interacting with. Now, what we've also got here, so this is our predictive opportunity scoring. So this helps you focus on revenue generation effort by providing scores to prioritize effort on quality opportunities. Now, I just want to sort of give you this important note. Sample questions in this guide are provided to give an idea of the various styles and formats used in the question presented during the certification exam. The samples discussed in this guide are not intended to represent content, reference, or questions that will be on the actual examination. Okay, so talking about the MCQ format. You are presented with short scenarios/cases. They're followed by one or more sets of questions, and you need to select the best answer. Only one answer must be selected. So let's look at this example. So we've gone through and have said, great, so got it. My guide for this would be definitely read the question, fully understand the question, and take your time to make sure you answer in the responsible way. As it says here, only one answer must be selected. Now, if I'm talking about the hotspot format, now you are presented with a short scenario/case. This is followed by a question with one or multiple options to be selected correctly. The choice to be selected are presented in a drop-down, radio buttons, and checkbox selection format. This is the score is gained for each correct answer choice. So thinking about that again, please read the question. So again, your hotspot. So what's actually happening here and what is the correct answer? Now, from a build a list format, you are presented with a periodical task list and list of activities. You need to identify and build/order the necessary steps to complete the task. On the left side are the action objects, which you need to select and move into the answer area on the right. You can drag the objects, or you can use the arrow keys in the middle section of the screen to move the objects. If you want to remove your selection from the answer area, use the back arrow or drag the selection back into the action list. Now, to reorder your answers, select the up-down arrows on the right side of the screen or drag your selection to the desired location in the list. Now, about the drag and drop format. You are presented with a short scenario. This is followed by a question which requires you to match the listed options to the given item/statement. To answer, drag the options listed to match the appropriate item/statement. Each option may be used once, more than once, or not at all. Note, score is gained for each correct answer. Now, about case study format. So you're presented with a real-world business case. On the left side of the screen, you are presented with menu options to see detailed information on the background, existing environment, business and technical requirements, and the problem statements. This case study has multiple questions associated with the business case. Each question in the series contains a unique solution that might meet stated goals. After you answer all the questions in this section, review the answers before moving to the next section of the exam. After you begin a new section, you will not, again I say not, be able to return to the case study. So again, go through, understand what you're doing, check your answers. Again, after you begin a new section, you will not be able to return to the case study. Okay, now we're going to look at the process of how we're going to go through and schedule an online exam. So the major process we're going to cover off is we're going to look at visiting the exam page. Then we're going to look at selecting a country and then we're going to look at scheduling the exam. Now, when you actually visit the exam page, you've got to make sure that this is the right exam for what you've been studying. So you're going to go through and you're going to make sure that you've covered off the important information, you've looked at your actual breakdown of the exam, so parts of requirements for the Microsoft Certified Dynamics 365 Sales Functional Consultant Associate level. Then you're going to select your actual exam where you want to take, where you're taking it. So you'll see change what's on the actual red box. And then you're going to go through and change what's on your, so you're going to click on schedule exam here. Now, when you go through this, what you're going to need to do, you need to actually log in to your actual profile with the email address associated with your MCID. Now, if you don't have an MCID, you will need to go create one and then come back to this page and making sure you've got all the information associated to it. So you've been able to fill in things like your job title and so forth. Now, the things that it's going to check, it's going to actually go through and check to make sure that you've got a microphone, because the proctor who's running the exam will need to be able to communicate with you. They're then going to be able to check they're going to have to check your internet speed to make sure that, again, you're not going to be disadvantaged by that. So again, as you can see here on the screen, it says troubleshoot your internet speed because it's not at the standard that they need. And then you're going to have a webcam of some description, sort of one that's with a laptop or something along those lines. And then you're going to see that you can see here we've got the ticks. So we've got a single tick for the microphone, a red cross on the internet speed, and a tick on the actual webcam. And then it'll then pop up some troubleshooting steps. So what type of actual connection are you using? And moving forward in that space there. Now, once you've fixed that and you can rerun your actual system check, it'll go through and say, well, okay, our microphone is approved, the internet speed is checked, and the webcam is checked. And then you'll get this system check successfully completed. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to go through and you're going to select a test location. Now, you could do this via, say, from your online or at home office. You can say go through, you can see the on view here. What it's going to do is going to actually, the process they're going to go through. They're going to test the PC to confirm that you've got all the requirements to be able to successfully sort of complete the exam. And then they're going to actually look at the testing space. So there's going to be a process they're going to go through with that. Then they're going to need to confirm your government ID. So you've got to have a photo ID when you actually do the exam. And check in for about, say, 30 minutes before your appointment time, because that way you can go through the process and you can say, right, what am I going to do? So we're going to go select the online at home or office, and then we're going to step through and actually run a system check on our machine. Now, when you're actually sitting the exam, so you're going to need to look at the online exam policy agreements. So just confirming that it's for the right exam. So as you can see here, it's MB-210, which is Microsoft Dynamics 365 for sales. And there's some actual policies you need to read and understand and agree to. So you need to read them through, check the boxes that have been highlighted in the red squares, and then click on Next. And then you're going to go through and select the proctor language. So select the preferred proctor language and click Next. Now, as you can see here on the screen, it's set as Japanese or English. So you may show different languages options for your location. And once you've made the choice, you can then just click Next. And then we're going to go through and select the date and time. So you want to select from one of the available dates on the time. So as you can see here, we've got some dates that are above the 18th of August. So we can move forward from there. And then we can sort of come through and we're going to say, what time zone is this in? and you can see what it is. And then you're going to see some actual, select an available time for your preference. I.e., you could be, say, a morning person or an afternoon person. So once you've done that, you can then just move forward. And you want to review the order. So you want to make sure that you've got the right exam, you've got the actual, also you've got the chance of looking at if this exam has things like sort of any actual sort of second shots, or if you've got any actual practice exams associated to it. So you might want to purchase one of the practice exams. And then you're going to sort of confirm all this, and you're going to proceed to the checkout. Again, you're going to need to reread the actual agreed policies. So you want to make sure that you've got a check the reschedule policy. Go through and check the cancellation policy, because sometimes things happen. And once you've done that, you need to click on the accept button. Now this is where you're going to add through a payment process. So you're going to either add in your payment details. Then you've got the option to be able to add a voucher or a promo code. Then you're going to complete the payment process, and you'll receive a confirmation email from Pearson VUE in reference to the email address that's assigned to your MC ID. Now, thinking about the voucher process, so you click on Add Voucher or Promo Code, and this screen will pop up here. And this is where you actually put in your voucher or promo code, and then you go apply. This little pop-up window will disappear, and then you can go back and you'll see the true cost of the exam that you're getting. Now, so before the exam day, so you want to make sure you review the ID policies, and you've got to bring along one valid form of unexpired government-issued personal ID. The government issue ID must have your signature and must have your photo. The name on the registration must match the names on the government issued ID exactly. Otherwise, that won't be actually, they won't accept the ID as that. So thinking about now your exam day, you're going to log back in to the exam area. So you're going to go to www.microsoft.com/learning. You're going to log in that process. Now on the dashboard, you're going to click that to view your appointments and then start previously scheduled online proctor exam. So you can see here that's been highlighted on the screen in a red box. Then you'll go through and click on your exam under the purchased online exams. And then you'll go through the process of begin and proceed through self-check-in process and wait for the proctor. So the proctor will come through and confirm what actually needs to be done. And they'll step you through that. It is recommended logging in 15 minutes early to start the check-in process. You will only have up to 15 minutes after your scheduled appointment time to begin the exam. To get started on your technical journey, select the practice areas you are interested in building your technical capabilities for with the help of Microsoft Partner Technical Consultants. To learn more about technical pre-sales and deployment services and how they are delivered through technical journeys, visit aka.ms/technical journey. From there, you can also start your technical journey. And thank you very much for attending today's session.
Thank you for sharing all the valuable information on this exam prep session. I hope this will prove useful to our participants while preparing for their exam. Thanks to all our participants for being with us throughout this series. We wish you all the best for your exam. Goodbye.